a self-inflicted smear against Israel?
No, I mean, I was in Ukraine last year. Are the Ukrainians committing genocide? I ask you.
What's that got to do with Israel?
I ask you, there are many wars going on.
Yeah.
Is Ukraine committing genocide?
No.
Right.
Is Russia committing genocide?
Russia is committing a war of hostile aggression, for sure. Although it doesn't seem to be attempting to eradicate the Ukrainian population as a whole, which is, of course, what genocide is.
Which is what Israel seems to be doing with Palestine.
Which is not doing.
I know that you work for Fox News, and I was called by Fox News some time back to talk about the genocide happening in South Africa, and I said there is no genocide happening in South Africa. So I was surprised that Fox could then see what was happening in South Africa as genocide, and yet what's happening in Israel as...
I don't speak for Fox.
In the interview, Douglas Murray engages in a heated discussion about the Israel-Gaza conflict, particularly focusing on the recent escalation of violence initiated by Hamas on October 7th. He challenges the characterization of Israel's actions as genocide, arguing instead that they are responses to aggressive acts from Hamas. Murray asserts that labeling Israel's military operations as genocide is not only misleading, but also undermines the complexities of the situation.
The allegation of genocide against Israel, why would Israel be committing genocide in Gaza?
Well, what would you describe it?
It's a war. It's which I've seen up close.
Okay.
So let me just explain that. If you start a war, which is what Hamas did on the 7th of October, if you start a war, there are repercussions. There are repercussions to Russia for starting a war against Ukraine. Russia's lost a lot of troops. There are repercussions for Hamas for starting a war against Israel.
So do you think there are repercussions for an illegal occupation?
What's the illegal occupation?
Of Israel against the Palestinians.
Where?
That is an illegal occupation.
Where?
It is a determined illegal occupation.
Murray addresses the broader context of the conflict by referencing historical events, such as Israel's withdrawal from Gaza in 2005, when they forcibly removed Jewish settlers to grant Palestinians control over the territory. He argues that this move has not led to peace, as Hamas subsequently took power and has been responsible for perpetuating violence and instability in the region.
Completely encircled Gaza. Nothing goes in, nothing goes out, as you know.
Well, as you know, if you've been, Gaza also has a border with Egypt. Why do you not mention Egypt? Egypt has a stronger fence to fence in the people of Gaza.
Okay,
than
so
Israel
you agree
does.
that Gaza has been fenced off?
No, it's fenced off, although you might note that there are more workers until the 7th allowed into Israel to work and indeed to have medical treatments and others that were considered necessary, which Hamas doesn't provide. There was plenty more people every day coming into work in Israel from Gaza until the 7th than were going the other way into Egypt. So if I go back to this question, why do you say there's an illegal occupation of Gaza? Why did you say that?
Because there is.
Why? Well, who
Israel
is occupying
is an occupying state.
No.
It is internationally recognized.
No, it's not. It's not at all.
I want to move on.
That's your view. Hang on, that's your view, and I have to correct your view.
Our views
I have
differ.
to correct. No, it doesn't. The facts, our views might differ, but the facts are the facts, and I want to pick you up on something you just did.
I'm interviewing you.
I know, but
Yes.
I think you're uninformed.
No.
So let me just.
Hardly.
So let me. You are uninformed
Oh,
because
really?
first of all,
Yes.
you didn't say that Egypt is blockading Gaza. Secondly, you claim that Israel.
I'm talking about Israel here, and I want to move.
It's
I want
very
to move on
convenient
from
for
this.
you to mention Israel
Oh.
because you've clearly got an animus here. But let me come on to the second point. Let me come to the second point. As you well know, in 2005. Israeli troops ripped Jewish families from their home in the Gaza.
That was after Palestinians had been ripped from their homes in Gaza.
I mean, how far back do you want to go?
Okay.
You can do the Hebron massacre of 1924
No,
if you want.
absolutely.
But let me just let me finish.
What I want to
finish one point.
What I want to talk about is
we're
talking about the action at the International Court of Justice.
No.
Okay.
But first of all, before we go on to that, you've got to inform
South Africa's
your viewers.
actions there.
Yes, but we've got to inform your viewers of the.
Throughout the discussion, Murray critiques the narrative that portrays Israel solely as the oppressor. He emphasises that the conflict involves multiple dimensions, including the role of illegal settlements in the West Bank, the historical grievances of both sides, and other global conflicts such as the situation in Ukraine, to illustrate that wars often have complex causes and consequences.
No, that's your
I know. So let's specific interpretation of the history, and yours is a very no. But we can agree to disagree, but don't misinform your viewers. And
Likewise.
You can go back. Well, I'm not misinforming your viewers. I'm informing them because you're not. The point that I'm trying to make, which
Israel
you keep
moved away
on,
from Gaza, and Gaza has been sealed off ever since.
You keep on trying to distract everyone from is that Israel took every Jew from Gaza in 2005, handed it over to the Palestinians, who then voted in Hamas, and to the great detriment of the Palestinian people. They have been ruled by Hamas for the last 18 years. If you want to look to the source of the conflict, look to that.
Murray also highlights the importance of acknowledging the suffering of both Israelis and Palestinians, noting that while Palestinian suffering is often emphasized, the context of Hamas's actions and its charter, which calls for the destruction of Israel, is frequently overlooked. He argues that Hamas's violent rhetoric and actions contribute significantly to the perpetuation of conflict and militancy in the region.
Nations under international law. Those settlements on the West Bank are illegal.
Which ones were legal in your view?
In the Middle East, and every time there would be a peace agreement, settlements would pop up, and that's why we are where we are today.
No, it's not.
So let's try and move on. No, let's try and move on.
It's not at all why we are where we are.
Hang on. We're not achieving anything here, so let's try and move on.
No.
Let's try and move on.
No, it's very because you just did it again. You just threw in another false fact. We are not where we are today because of settlements in the West Bank that are disputed. That's not why Hamas broke out of Gaza on the 7th of October and massacred people in their homes.
As we know, Hamas got
because of the West Bank, and you well know it. You well know that.
And
you well know that Hamas. You well know that Hamas did not commit the massacre of the 7th of October because of settlements. They did it by their own admission because they want to massacre every Jew they can get their hands on, and Hamas has said they will do it again and again. So don't get onto the distraction of settlements. That is a second-order priority. The first order.
It's easy to fob those off, isn't it?
It's easy for you to try to distract people about it. But I'm saying don't distract them from the crimes of Hamas. Don't do that.
I'm not distracting.
Well, you are. You just said that's why they did it. You said they did it because of the settlements.
And those crimes by Hamas were repugnant.
I'm glad you said that finally.
Finally. But what I'm saying...
You've been here for some time with you going on about settlements and everything else.
So we've got an illegal occupying force. We've got a situation that is making... I mean, Hamas has grown in popularity ever since this war on Gaza because Israel is making people more and more increasingly militant. So what is happening at the moment...
Israel's making people more militant.
...is not working.
Do you think that Hamas is making people more militant or not?
Let's go back to the ICJ.
Do you think that Hamas is making people more militant or not?
Well, it's a catch-22, isn't it?
Oh, I see.
And I mean, until this illegal occupation is broken, until the suffering of the Palestinians is acknowledged...
And do you think that Hamas are interested in a solution where there's any Jew in that region or not?
I'm asking you the questions, and
well, I'd love you to answer that one.
No, we can answer it. Let's just move on.
Have a go, then.
Okay.
So have a go. Do you think Hamas want a peaceful solution with the Jews?
I'm asking you the questions. We can discuss this afterwards.
Oh, no, I'd love to do this one on air. Do you think Hamas want to live beside the Jews, yes or no?
They have recently said that they would be happy to live next to Jews, but they want a two-state solution. A two-state solution has been in the offing.
Murray also highlights the political and legal issues underpinning the regime, which can be difficult to dismay and contribute to persecution. In summary, Murray's main objective in the interview is to provide a more nuanced understanding of the Israel-Gaza conflict, countering simplistic narratives and urging a recognition of the multifaceted nature of the violence, the historical context, and the responsibility of various actors involved.